And you have just gotten a new position at the LA GOP.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just got elected for the vice chair for the LA GOP. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Yes.
Tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Siaka Massaquoi, and I too am a conservative now.
And you may be quite familiar with him from a viral Babylon Bee series that is just hysterical about Californians moving to Texas.
Yes.
I am a fan of the Babylon Bee, and I turned that video on one day, and I was like, that's Siaka, what's going on? And Red State's written about it because it's just hysterical. Tell us a little about how you got into that and what you think makes it touch so many people.
Well, I got into it because I ran for office, actually.
Right.
And my background, some people may or may not know, my background is entertainment, and I'm an actor by trade, writer, producer, and I decided to run for local office.
Right.
I decided to run for state assembly.
And that's how we met my wife.
Yep,
Full
that's how
disclosure, she ran.
Yeah, she ran before, so she was giving me some insight.
Yeah.
And I decided when I decided to run, I wanted to do it differently than other people. And one of the fundraisers we did was a comedy show, because I'm like, we need to start showing who we are. It's a big thing for me.
I've always said that conservatives need to own comedy
and start showing the world who we are, because we're defending how somebody else describes us, and I'm done with that.
Right.
So I'm like, let's do a comedy show. And then Adam Yenser, who works for the Babylon Bee, he was one of the comedians, and I had a few guys there, and I went up and spoke. And then they were saying, hey, we want to have you on the podcast. I'm like, all right. I also do sketches and everything since I was canceled from Hollywood with my own sketch group.
Can't imagine why you were canceled.
Well, just wasn't spewing the propaganda properly.
Right.
So we ended up we were doing What the Fact, and I was like, hey, I do sketch comedy. Or like, we'd love to have you on for something. We worked out. We did the podcast, and then about months and months later of just communicating on back and forth. One of the guys, Jarrett LeMaster, who actually is the one that plays the devil, and he's like, "Yo, I got a part for you." I'm like, "Cool." So we did Californians Moving to Texas, and we did this one sketch. We thought it was a one-off, and we didn't know we were hitting so hard on what was the sentiment around the country until Joe Rogan retweeted it.
Oh, is that?
That's what took it to the next level. So Joe Rogan retweets it. It gets anywhere between I would say 18 to 20 million views altogether.
20 million?
Altogether between the different platforms. Yeah, it was crazy. Joe Rogan's real,
Yeah.
And so that happened.
You're a star.
But what it said to me was something that I already knew, was that we don't have that side of the equation. Mm-hmm. Like we said, the left has the entertainment, the music, and everything, and they have politicians, and they have business,
education,
and education. What do we have?
Right.
So and trust me, we have God that's bigger than all of that, but we still live in this modern world. We still live in this current world. And there are pieces and there are individuals like your wife, like myself, who are talented, who have been working for a while, like people like Bryson Gray, who are talented artists. Why aren't they just as part and held up to the high standard that a lot of these leftist, idiotic celebrities are? In order for a lot of us on our side to even kind of be in this circle, we had to show a sense of intelligence.
Right.
It wasn't just, I made you laugh, and no, that's a byproduct of it. But what laughter does and what storytelling does, it doesn't sit in here as much as it sits in here. And right now as conservatives, we lost the battle for the heart. We've lost the battle for the heart because we're just stuck up thinking we're intelligent and it needs to be for the head, and that can't all be the only way.
And I've written a bunch about how late night comedy is just dead.
Yes,
I mean, you watch Kimmel, what's his face? I don't even forget their name. I can't even watch it.
It doesn't matter because no one's watching it.
I watch it for 30 seconds and I can't take it. And that's why, whether you like Gutfeld or not, I still think it's fantastic. I do, but I think it's fantastic that he's done so well.
What Gutfeld has done, and what Gutfeld has done and has shown everyone else, and to me, again, this is a big miss by the conservative side, by the Republicans, whatever you want to call it. Gutfeld showed that's what people are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one thing that's out there that has one prominent infrastructure behind it is the most successful.
Yeah.
It's not because it's the best. The writing's okay. The guests are okay. And love them all for what they're doing, but they're not doing anything revolutionary in that way. It's revolutionary because it's produced and it's propped up on the side that is not supposed to be the fun side.
And if I watch Colbert, it's literally just taking DNC talking points and reading them out loud, and it's not funny.
Even more than DNC's taking Chuck Schumer's.
Yeah,
Chuck Schumer sends them all that stuff, and he's the one that does. So, with what we've been doing, that Babylon Bee, the sketch that it took off, I think it allowed now for other people that are outside of Los Angeles, outside of that kind of entertainment mindset,
Right.
to see that there is something here like this.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
And I
we can build on
urge
that.
everybody to watch it because it is truly comedy. But I want to just ask also, you started talking about, for us Californians who are getting pretty beaten up,
Yes.
where do you start? There's so many things wrong from our governor on
Yeah.
down. But you're hopeful, and you're now got this new position, and you were talking earlier about a couple thoughts. What hope can you give us here in California who haven't moved to Texas yet?
Yeah. First off, I got to say this because friends of mine, part of people in the Patriot movement during 2020, and some left.
Yep.
And of course, we saw the biggest move in California history.
First time we've lost population in what, 100? Yeah, ever.
Yeah. I got to say out there, I get it because a lot of people were leaving their family, their own safety. I understand.
Yeah.
I would implore Californians who are still here to stay only because, and start local. We start local because what if you look at how they want us to focus on this political world, they want us to focus on president and governor. Mm-hmm. The governor is not the one that shut us down in 2020.
Right.
Our
A lot of people don't know that.
Our city council, our county supervisors, those are the ones that shut us down. Most people didn't even know that existed as
I didn't even know who they were.
Exactly.
By the way, though, just to say, though, he did cheer them on.
Oh, yeah. No. And this is, I'll get to my point because he cheered them on, but the way this country is actually built, it's not from the top down, it's from the bottom up. So he can cheer all day. It don't mean nothing for your area, for where you live. Wherever you are, wherever your feet are landed and planted, you find your people within that, and you take over the smaller positions because those smaller positions are the infrastructure and the pillars for the bigger, mouthpieces. If they don't have those people in there saying this the school policy, this is the city policy, restaurants and businesses aren't shut down. Parents and teachers aren't at odds with each other. But just because that's what they want from up top does not mean, and the way the country's set up and has been set up because of our Constitution, does not mean how everyone has to follow suit. Those people need to be elected in those positions, and that could be you.
And most people didn't ever know that there was a department of supervisors, board of supervisors, excuse them. They controlled everything, it seems like. And our Department of Health, Board of Health, again, they're the ones who shut us down, and nobody elected them, which was...
They get appointed. So think about it like this. You're a friend of mine, right? So if I get a position in a certain place and I want to get people who are going to follow my orders without considering human cost, I'm going to get my friends.
Yeah.
And if we look down the line, we're going to see a bunch of people over and over who are friends and they move in the same circles and they're in family, this, that, and the other. The difference is that I always state from one side to the other is that I believe that the conservatives hold God as their standard.
Yes.
You have people holding man as their standard, and we've seen throughout history, when you hold man as your standard, lives are lost, futures are destroyed. We need to get back to holding God as the standard again.
I just watched Dennis Prager speaking up on the main stage, and he was making a very similar point, very well said. One thing that I get in my comments, I would just add, whenever I write about California, I write quite a bit about it because I live there. Every time I get the same comment, you idiots voted for it. You deserve it. You commie. And I want to write back, did you vote for Joe Biden? Did you vote for what we're seeing across the country? Because we're sounding the alarm because a lot of this is coming to you in Arizona and Texas and all these neighboring states. So you should hear the alarm that we're sounding and pay attention. But I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. And last word I'll say is people, we got to remember, God is the genesis of life, and family is the genesis of America.
Can't top that. Thank you so much.